Okay? Anything that comes from the sea that has no scales. Even an oyster is bad because it has a shell that could protect it, but it could still have dirt go inside. That's how the pearl forms. Right? So I'm telling you this to keep you all healthy. Okay. So they also tell you that, okay, so why did God say that you can eat a bird like a chicken, but you can't eat a bird like an eagle, or you can't eat certain birds like the owl? Why? You know why? Because the owl or the eagle, they eat dead flesh. Okay, so anything that eats dead flesh or anything that eats something that's dirty, it makes the animal dirty. You understand? Yeah. And if the animal is eating dirty food, then the animal gets contaminated, and then we eat the animal, then we get contaminated. Do you understand?
But the fish does eat dirty.
Okay, so now you look at the pig. Okay, so now the Jews were told not to touch the pig, but they were told it's okay to eat a lamb or to eat a cow. You know what is the difference?
Because the pig is dirty.
First of all, why? Because the pig will eat poop.
Ew.
Okay, that's one of the reasons.
Yes.
No,
Pigs?
it will, but
But what is the other main reason why why pork is dangerous? Why is pork dangerous? If you even go to the doctor and you ask the doctor, he'll tell you pork is dangerous. You know why? Because pigs, it all has to do with the timing of the digestive system. When the pig eats a certain food, it only goes through his digestive system within 4 hours. And that's not enough to kill all the bacteria that's in the food. So what happens is that the pig, when he eats the food, if there's any bacteria in it, the pig's stomach does not have the acids that we do, or the cow or the lamb has to kill the bacteria. So what happens? The bacteria gets absorbed into the pig's body. And then we eat the pig's flesh, and then we get sick. And that's why you have the diseases like trichinosis and all kinds of diseases with pig meat. Okay? So I'm not telling you don't eat pig. I'm not saying it's okay to eat pig. It's up to you. Alright? I'm just telling you that this is one of the reasons why the Jews were stopped from eating pork. Okay? So everything the Bible tells you is good. We are just now only catching up with the Bible. Alright, we are okay with this so far?
yes.
Okay, so we came to Holy Thursday. So on Holy Thursday, what was the big event that happened on Holy Thursday? The Last Supper, which was the new what? The new covenant. The new covenant or the new promise that God made with us. So God is saying, Jesus is saying that I'm going to die for you. Okay, as long as you keep eating my flesh and you keep drinking my blood, you become like me because you are what you eat. If we are what we eat and we are eating Jesus, we are going to become more like him. Okay? You got it? Okay, so Holy Thursday, that's the Last Supper. Let me ask you one more question. You know at the Last Supper, Jesus was sitting with all his disciples, right? Or we don't call them apostles yet because they were still disciples. Some of them had been sent out to go preach. Apostle means the sent one, right? Disciple means student. So they are still his students. So how many disciples did he have around?
12. One of them betrayed him.
Yeah, so who is Jesus?
A teacher.
What do we call Jesus?
A teacher.
Is
Messiah.
he just a teacher?
Messiah.
Is Jesus just a teacher? Is Jesus just a good teacher? What was Jesus? What do we believe Jesus is? What did we just say Jesus is?
The Savior.
He's what? He's a savior, but what is he?
A warrior.
If you all don't get this, then we don't need to be Christians or we don't need to be Catholic. What is Jesus? Who is Jesus?
God.
He's God. Jesus is God, right? Okay, so Jesus is God, right? And it says that who else was sitting at the table? One who betrayed
I think
him.
it was John.
It was Judas. It was Judas, right? So so think about this now. They said that Satan entered Judas and Judas went out to betray him. So Satan entered Judas. Where was Judas? Where was Judas? Where was Judas at that time when Satan entered Judas? Judas was the disciple of Jesus who betrayed him.
Oh, Judas, yeah.
Judas. So where was Judas? Where did Satan enter Judas? Where was Judas? Judas was in the room with the other disciples, right?
Yeah.
And he was in the presence of Jesus, who is God. So Satan is there in the same room with God. If he entered Judas, right? How was Satan able to enter the same room where God is? Mm-hmm.
Why would Satan only enter Judas?
Good question. We are going to come to that. Hold that thought. Okay. So let me ask you a question. How was Satan able to enter Judas? How was Satan able to enter Judas
Eating
when
pork?
God was present in the room?
Eating pork?
Anyone else? Anybody? How was Satan able to enter Judas when God was present in the room?
Maybe he was.
Who was in charge of the earth at that time?
God.
Huh? Who was in charge of the earth at that time?
Nobody.
When Adam sinned, who did he give over authority of the earth to?
Oh, Satan.
Satan, right? But when Jesus died on the cross, after that Satan has no right and no power to come in the same room with Jesus. Because now the ground has been made holy and sanctified. Do you understand? Okay, so coming back to Daniela's question. What is Satan? Is Satan a human or is Satan a spirit?
Both.
Is Satan a human or Satan a spirit?
Spirit.
He's a spirit.
Spirit.
Right? Is God before Jesus came to earth, is God human or is God spirit? God is spirit. Because Jesus said that God is spirit and truth, and you can only worship him in spirit and in truth. That means God is spirit, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the only who was given power on this earth to rule before, when God made the earth and it was perfect, who was given? It was given to Adam. Because Adam was a human, and he was also made from what? From what?
Flesh.
From flesh, right? So the only way you can come into this earth and rule and have power, you have to have flesh. So now you know why Jesus had to take over and come in flesh, because he couldn't come as a spirit and just use his force, because it would be the wrong way. You understand?
Yes.
So now why did Satan have to come into somebody else? So he could also become flesh. So he could fight. You get it? Is it making sense? Satan as a spirit, he couldn't come in and attack Jesus. He had to come through a human. Or he had to come through something that has flesh. So when Satan was in the Garden of Eden, Satan couldn't come and attack Adam as spirit. How did he have to come and attack him through? Through the snake. Why? Because the snake had flesh. Because he had to attack through flesh. You understand? Huh?
Why did he choose it?
Why did he choose Judas? Because Judas had sin in him.
Oh.
Because the other disciples didn't. The other disciples believed in Jesus, but Judas did not believe. And that's why. When we sin, we open the door for the bad spirits to come inside us and make us do wrong things. Do you understand?
Yes.
Why was Judas a disciple of Jesus? Well, in the beginning he did. But then towards the end, he thought that what Judas was expecting was that Jesus would become a king. Because all the Jews were believing that the Messiah or the Anointed One would come and they would become the most powerful nation on earth, and the Jews would rule the whole world. That's what they believed. So when Jesus came on the scene, they believed that Jesus was going to establish the kingdom, and then if all Jesus' friends are around him, so all of them are going to get big posts, and they're all going to become important. That's why they were all fighting for position in the kingdom of heaven. That's why John and James, the two brothers, would always fight. Who's going to sit on your right hand? Who's going to sit on your left? Because they thought that once the king comes in, the king is going to give you the best, like make you a prime minister or make you an ambassador and send you to the best places. That's what they were all fighting for. Okay? You understand?
Mm-hmm.
So it's very important. Why did Jesus come in flesh? Jesus had to come in flesh because he couldn't come and fight the battle in spirit. He had to take on the form of a man to come, because the man was given dominion on the earth, and he had to come in flesh to rule the earth. Okay? Is it making sense?
Yes.
And he had to come to a human, and the Satan had to take over a human, so he could come and attack Jesus. And he attacked him through who did he attack him through? Through Judas.
Ooh, Judas.
Okay. So now we've got Holy Thursday out of the way. Did I answer your question, Daniela? You understand? Okay, no more confusion, right? I want to make sure. Anybody else have any confusion?
Yes.
Teresa, are you okay? You good? Okay, so we come to Good Friday. So on Good Friday, what happened? What happened on Good Friday?
Jesus died.
Jesus died. In the Jewish temple, they would sacrifice how many times a day?
2 times.
Twice a day. They would call it the what? The morning sacrifice and the evening sacrifice. You know what time the morning sacrifice was?
7 o'clock.
Anybody?
7 o'clock p.m.
12 a.m. 7 o'clock p.m.
9 a.m.
What time was the evening sacrifice?
7 p.m.
8 p.m.
3 p.m.
So was Jesus the morning sacrifice? Because that was the hour Jesus was put on the cross. And 3 p.m. was the hour Jesus gave up the ghost. And he said, Father, into your hands I commit my spirit, and he died. So Jesus represented both the morning sacrifice and the evening sacrifice. Alright? You get it?
Yes.
So, Good Friday. Good Friday, we call it good because it's good for us. Because Jesus died for us. That's why it's good for us. Good Friday. What happened after Jesus died on the cross? What happened?
He got buried.
Okay, so his mother and a few of his good friends, Nicodemus and his uncle came and they took him down from the cross and they buried him in they put him in linen cloth and they took him to a tomb that was close by. Okay, they didn't have much time. Why did they have to rush him to a tomb that was close by?
Because they were going to kill them too.
So this is the mountain on which Jesus was crucified with the two thieves. They didn't have much time because look, this is 3 o'clock. Okay, by the time they take him down from the cross, by the time they put a few of the balm or whatever the embalming fluid on him and wrap him in linen cloth, and they have to carry him and take him because this is on Friday, right? And what is Saturday? Saturday is what is Saturday called for the Jews? It's called the Sabbath, and the Jews can't touch a dead body on the Sabbath; it makes them unclean. So they would have been unable to celebrate Sabbath. So they had to get Jesus buried before the Sabbath. So they rushed him into the closest grave that they could find. Right? It belonged to a man who had built that grave, dug that grave out of rock and stone, and it was a grave that had never been used. Right? It had a stone, and this stone is not a small stone that we think, but it's a big stone like this big, maybe about 400 to 600 pounds, and it would take 3 or 4 men to roll the stone.
Whoa.
Okay? So what happens was that this was like a cave. And this cave was very close to the mountain on which Jesus was crucified. And this is the cave, okay, and there's a garden around the cave. Okay, there's a garden around the cave, and in front of the entrance to the cave there was a big stone that was covering the entrance. So 3 or 4 men would have to come, and the stone would have looked like a big donut. Okay? Alright? It would have looked like a big donut. And so what they would have done, 3 or 4 guys would come and they would roll the stone. Okay, but it wouldn't have a hole in the center like a donut, okay? But I'm just giving you the shape. So it would look like a big, like about this thick and round all the way around, right? Wow. And what they would do is that because this would have been, think of it like this, okay? So say this is the entrance to the cave and this is like a flat. So they would take the stone and they would push it and it would come down because it would be on an incline, so it would roll down easy. But then to close it, they would have to push it back up. You get it? And so they could go inside the cave. So once you enter the cave, they had these little slabs made and they could just put the body there. Okay? So there was this like a flat table, and not a table but out of stone. They had beaten it out of stone, this cave. And so they would have put Jesus on one of those stones, right? So Jesus is laid there. Okay? You get it? So they laid him here in the tomb, and then they rolled the stone, and then they put the stone on the entrance of the cave. Okay? But that was not all that they did. What else did they do? They sealed it. They sealed it. So what is sealed? Seal means that they put cement. They put cement or something like cement around it so that the stone can't be moved. That was not all they did. What else did they do?
They put guards.
They put guards. So now they have, and we are not talking about just policemen. What guards are we talking about?
Real guards.
Huh?
Warriors.
These are army men like the Marines.
Security guard.
So the best of the Marines, the best like how the US Marines, guys, not like kind of like the US Marines, they put Roman soldiers all around the tomb to guard the
Why
tomb.
did they do that?
Because they were afraid that somebody would come and steal Jesus' body and say that he's alive. So they sealed the tomb. So think, they sealed the tomb, and now they put guards around there. And yet on Easter Sunday, what happened?
He rose again.
Yeah, it was an earthquake. The earthquake came in, the stone rolled away, the angel rolled the stone away, and Jesus was resurrected, and Jesus came out of the grave. And that's what we celebrate on Easter Sunday. Jesus coming back to life. So we come to Easter Sunday, right? So just think, this is the same thing that happened in the Exodus when God brought the Jews out of where did He bring them out of? Where did God bring the Jews out of? With Moses. Where were they? They were living in Egypt. And God brought them out of Egypt. Good Friday would have been the day when they crossed the Red Sea. Because they were passing from death to life. You get it? Okay, so now they're roaming in the desert for 50 days. Right? And at the 50th, on the 49th day, close to the 50th day, they come to the foot of Mount what?
Rushmore.
They come to the they come to the foot of Mount Sinai. I don't know if I'm spelling that correctly, but they come to the foot of Mount Sinai, right? And what does God tell? What does God tell all of the Jews? He says, "Don't come to the mountain because the mountain is holy. Because I'm on the mountain, right?" He says, "Stay away from the mountain. If you come and you even touch the mountain or come close to the mountain, you're gonna die." Right? And then Moses climbed up the mountain because at that time only the priests could go out because the sins had not been paid for. Okay? The sins of the world had not been paid for. Nobody had paid for the sins of the world. Okay? So it was a holy mountain. So God was on the mountain. Moses went up the mountain, and on the 50th day, which was the feast of Pentecost, God gave Moses the 10 commandments, which was the law. And Moses walked down the mountain, and he came and he gave the law to the Israelites. That happened on the 50th day.
I thought when Moses came down, they made a new god.
They had made a new calf. But then Moses broke the commandments and then he went back up the mountain and he came back down.
Moses got so mad.
Yeah. And he broke all of the 10 commandments at once.
Whoa.
Right?
What?
Okay, so on the first 50th day, that's why it's called Penti. Penti means 50. Okay, Penta. Penta means 50. So that's where we get Pentecost from, okay? On the first Pentecost, the law was given to the Jews. And on the first day of Pentecost, the Jews were instructed and commanded to keep the law. And they were told, if you don't keep the law, what is going to happen to you? You're gonna die. You're gonna die, right? Now, Jesus died, buried, resurrected on Easter Sunday. 50 days after Easter, 50 days later, we celebrate the feast of Pentecost. So what happened on the feast of Pentecost? For us as Christians, what happened for us? The Holy Spirit came down in the form of fire, tongues of fire on the apostles' heads, and they were given grace to preach the good news to the whole world. And now, before we were told that if we break the law, we are going to die. Now we are told that if we break the law, we have grace. We can go for confession. We can ask God for forgiveness. If we repent and we turn away from our wicked ways, God is ready to forgive us. You see the difference? We are now under grace, not under law. How much time we got?
10:22.
10:22. Okay, it's time for you to. We still haven't finished this. They're going to have to come back to this one more week. But I'm going to hand it over to Mr. Rick and he's going to start asking you all some questions.
Do you know more? Switched it. Guys, look, he switched it.
Yeah.
He switched it.
To a Home Depot?
Is this all starting to make some sense to you?
Yeah. No, I like to
I have a question. What's
Yeah.
9 to 10.
Really?
That's an easy question.
I'm just asking what it was.
What was it? 19?
21.
How was it?
My friend said that it was actually true because they did some calculations and it turned out to be
It is 19.
Wait, I didn't see it. 19. It's tough. 1 equals 21.
plus what?
19 plus 1 equals 20. Are you so... What's up?
Oh, and add, make a plus with this, take it apart. 21.
Oh!
That's logical. It's plain.
Oh, you just need to take away the
that one from the teacher, I guess, maybe the work.
See, logic.
You don't want to say 21 because that's or just numbers. This beaver's annoying.
Hey, guess what? Just
Yes.
you said it down here, now you travel.
Look what I did.
Remember, we don't do that no more. We have a raise a hand.
Oh yeah.
Remember? You don't know
Okay, I'll
that
make another question
You
first.
have the
That's
question.
fine. She's ready to go. Okay.
You need to ask the question.
The first question you need to ask Ray.
The first hand that goes up. What does the liturgical year revolve around?
Jesus' birth, death, resurrection.
That's good. Good job.
I didn't get
It didn't
it.
work.
Take the grade class.
Oh,
Remember.
Take my paycheck. Thank you for your cooperation.
okay. What color candle do we have on the first week?
Hey! My hand was always up.
Purple. Good job.
My hand was all up the
Don't forget to pick up.
Okay. What color is the fourth week of Advent?
Her hand was up.
Purple.
Good job.
Again, Republican.
No.
What color is the third week of Advent?
She got credit.
This is so funny.
Hey, good job. All right, that's
These are not
why
working.
the trick and they still got it. What color was the second week of Advent?
His hand was up first. His hand.
Purple. You're right.
It wasn't him, that was the other guy.
He had the blue shirt.
Okay.
Yeah.
What happens on the fifth week?
Wait, fifth week kid? Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
there was fifth grade something.
It's white and it's for Christmas. Good job.
Yay! Yeah, this is all I know. So I'm
Funny
waiting now.
people save your cash.
Why did we use palms on Palm Sunday?
To tap up confetti.
It's a type of confetti, early confetti. Good job.
Type of confetti.
Yo, we said
Okay. Neil is explaining that when the earthly rulers would come in, they would turn left, but Jesus came as a spiritual ruler, so he went to the right to the temple.
Why?
Yeah, I got my
Because
answer.
he doesn't want to question.
Why? That's a good question. Why?
Okay, let's do that one. Why?
Yeah, he
Anthony.
Anthony.
Yeah! Because he didn't want to fight with the team. Or he didn't want to fight with the.
Oh, you should have told him.
He didn't come to fight the soldiers. Where did he come for?
For peace.
For peace, okay.
Wow, you're so loud.
I kind of hate you myself.
Over here was King Herod
They're good.
and Pilate. Who was King Herod?
Big fat.
King Herod, the
big fat
king.
What is the difference between Herod and Pilate?
King.
Pilate's the governor.
He was.
King Harry the Third.
Anybody?
What?
Wait, what was the question I
What is
forgot?
the difference between King Herod and Pilate?
Oh,
One of
King
them was a
Herod
king.
was a smaller king, but King Pilate ruled the bigger.
King Pilate is the governor of US.
He's right actually. Pilate was a Roman and he was a Roman governor.
Yeah.
And King Herod was called the king of the Jews.
That's the
Even though he was not a Jew.
That's the difference, okay, guys?
Pick up my
King Herod was labeled the king of the Jews. He was put there by the Roman government. But Pilate was actually the representative of the Roman government. He overlooked. And that's why they're in the same government building. Okay.
Take his face.
Oh, he's so lucky he didn't get robbed.
What do we celebrate on Holy Thursday?
Cheesy.
The Last Supper. Good job.
I like
What did Neil say was that the last time Jesus ate?
No.
Wait, what? Did you get yours already?
No, it wasn't. He ate again, remember?
It was the last
It was the last time he ate in his physical human body. It was the last supper in his physical human body. He came again to have supper with the disciples, but in his spiritual body. Does anybody here know when they will die?
Oh.
Only when you're scheduled for an execution, right?
Yeah. Execution
Isn't that on?
No.
Okay.
I mean, the Bible is it?
It's on. It's on.
There's many ways for execution.
Okay, what does Advent mean?
You still have two people.
They can burn each
You
other.
know that one.
Oh, she already did it.
To come to.
She already did it.
Off with the head.
Nothing else.
And then off of the head, like off the bridge, off of the head.
What does Ash Wednesday signify?
Natalie's supposed to have the next one.
We're gonna have a chair when you learn
And so is
to celebrate.
It's not celebrating, it's a reminder.
It's to remind us that from ashes we came and ashes we shall go.
Oh, my foot hurts.
Okay, you better be quick.
Wait, sit down, guys.
What was celebrated on Holy Thursday?
Sit down, please.
Right.
No need to stand.
Which was actually a reminder of.
Keep it to myself.
No.
What was Jesus celebrating?
And 30 minutes.
I have a question.
Passover. Good
I
job.
don't have the book.
Yeah.
Do you have cookies?
Cookie down.
Why don't we sacrifice animals anymore? Sheep.
Come on, guys.
Jesus already sacrificed for all.
Okay, good job.
Teresa, your dad is outside.
Who betrayed Jesus?
How'd you do? Oh, hold on. Judas. So.
Judas. What does that mean? It's scary. You gotta know the difference because there was actually two disciples that were named Judas. So you gotta know the difference.
But there's two. Let's see Judas. One.
What do we celebrate in Easter? Okay, that's good.
All right, give one of give us some big hands.
Before you eat, you're gonna say a Hail Mary.
Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with you.
Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God.
Just do it.
Amen.
Holy donuts.
Next week, no class. It's Thanksgiving.
Yeah!
So happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Do you have cookies?